In a 1960s grocery store, commerce was governed by hard geographic boundaries. Products competed for specific inches of physical shelf space. Inventory was limited by the size of a stockroom, and face-to-face interactions dictated every customer relationship. To navigate these physical constraints, businesses relied on a strategic framework known as the marketing mix. Built around the 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion, and later expanded to 7 Ps, it was a practical toolkit designed for an economy defined by scarcity and distance. Then, those physical barriers dissolved. In 1989, a computer scientist named Tim Berners-Lee proposed a system for sharing information across networks. The World Wide Web stripped away geographic borders and removed the traditional limits of physical scarcity. Buyers were no longer restricted to the inventory of their local stores. They moved into an environment of infinite consumer choice and dense flows of real-time information. To survive the transition online, businesses adapted the traditional 7 Ps, subjecting each element of the mix to a data-driven reconfiguration. The static physical toolkit evolved into a dynamic digital ecosystem. Take the first element, the product. This concept bifurcated. Some items became purely digital entities, like music streaming and software subscriptions. Meanwhile, physical goods required an extended digital value, like online tracking or immediate customer support, to remain competitive. The Internet introduced a market shift known as price transparency. It empowered buyers to access the exact same market pricing information that sellers had long kept to themselves. This diagram shows the shift away from fixed pricing. On the left, a static physical sticker fails to respond to sudden market changes. On the right, we see the digital solution, dynamic pricing, where the cost of a good adjusts in real time based on shifting supply and demand. Algorithms drive this by constantly scraping competitors' prices, monitoring user location data, and checking warehouse inventory levels, feeding those inputs directly into the curve to protect profit margins. Because buyers can instantly see when raw materials or shipping rates fluctuate, brands face a dilemma. They must choose between absorbing those visible costs internally or shifting them to consumers and risking an immediate drop in sales. In a digital environment, pricing functions as a continuous, algorithmic negotiation. Historically, promotion was a one-way delivery system. A television broadcast or a magazine ad pushed a single message out to a passive audience. Digital promotion broke that monologue. Brand messaging is now atomized across paid search ads, platforms owned directly by the company, and earned media like organic social mentions. Simultaneously, the concept of place changed. It moved from a brick-and-mortar destination into a URL, a downloadable widget, or a data exchange API that operates entirely independent of geography. This enabled a process known as disintermediation. The Internet allowed brands to bypass traditional physical distributors and wholesalers, connecting a manufacturer straight to the consumer. Removing physical middlemen simply created a need for new digital ones. To maintain visibility, brands buy digital shelf space from aggregators, using automated platforms to launch product listing ads at the exact moment a user searches for them. Large tech conglomerates, companies like Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Apple, now act as the foundational infrastructure mediating these interactions. A brand's place functions as a ubiquitous digital presence distributed across third-party networks. This environment creates a psychological hurdle. When physical cues like a well-lit storefront or a heavy glass door are absent, consumer uncertainty regarding a brand's legitimacy increases. To solve this, the service elements of the mix took on new roles. The process of waiting in line at a cash register was replaced by web self-service and automated data routing workflows that operate invisibly in the background. The role of people shifted too. Physical sales reps were replaced by 24-hour chatbots, community forums, and online influencers hired to provide a sense of authentic word of mouth. Even physical evidence had to be recreated. In a virtual space, evidence of quality is demonstrated through site load speeds, secure payment portals, and high volumes of verified reviews. The user experience and interface design carry the weight of a brand's reputation, serving as the digital storefront. Without a physical building to establish authority, brands manufacture trust through the precision of their service design. When all 7 of these upgraded elements, product, price, place, promotion, process, people, and physical evidence, are integrated, they form an online value proposition. This is the complete ecosystem that gives a brand its competitive edge. Modern shoppers engage in mixed-mode buying. They might evaluate a product inside a retail store while simultaneously checking consumer reviews and real-time price comparisons on their phone. Managing digital channels in isolation ignores the reality that customers switch between devices and platforms throughout their journey. Success requires integrating the 7Ds, aligning data, technology, and platforms to meet the audience wherever they interact. Even traditional, offline media remains essential. Print ads, direct mail, and billboards act as the catalyst, driving awareness straight into these digital ecosystems. The ultimate goal of the modern marketing mix is an omni-channel strategy. Whether a customer is scanning a barcode on a physical shelf or clicking a social media ad, the brand experience remains consistent.